David and I are here tonight in part because Jane is from Overham, and also, as I said to David, I said, we are throwing a little bit of a winding for one of the true good souls in the music business. So I was telling him about a good soul in the music business, which seemed foreign to him.
Well, from Los Angeles, you know, there's no good souls there.
It's the sincerity capital of North America, Los Angeles. So we decided, well, first of all, Dave was in town visiting my mom because it's a lot easier to fly from LA and back than try and talk to her on the phone. Mom is 90. A phone call goes something like this. Hi, Mom. Who have I got? It's
what?
Ian.
What? What?
Ian who?
What?
Your son, Ian. It's not sunny out, it's raining. Oh, fuck off! I heard that. So, Dave, I told him all about Jane, and he just said, lovely. So Jane, my love, whenever I speak to Jane, I hope I'm not the only one you say this to, but she always says, oh, Ian, my petal. So that's how our conversations go. Oh, Jane, my darling. Ian, my petal. Oh, my darling. My petal, my darling. Jane is just such a sweetie. She's the sister I never had. So we thought, Jane, that tonight we really wouldn't speak in our own dialects much at all. So that after spending just a few minutes with Dave and I, you would remember all the reasons you fucked off and came over here. So, when Dave and I were growing up, we spent a lot of our summers over there, and we would learn various dialects so that we weren't always the foreigners.
Our families come from Overham, they did. Worked in factories and mines, not like toffs on Top Hill. And you know, once a fortnight, they'd take the number 9 bus down from Butty to Bath, they'd go Hedgerow, and then down towards Seaside, and they'd have those little quarter sandwiches in the rain and fog, and have a lovely day. And you know what they had to be thankful about for in life? Bloody nothing!
Oh, we used to have a crust of bread when we were growing up.
Lucky to have a crust of bread we were.
Well, we were and all, and if a bird flew over and crapped on it, well, that was a holiday for us. Look,
you'd put a lid on that crap, and there you go. There's your sandwich. A little acidic, but goes down good with a bit of tea.
So, our mother was, of course, as you heard from my phone conversation, was from Scotland. And you know, the Scottish, we had a couple of wee aunts. One had a tiny wee mouse, Auntie Kate. And I often wondered why Scottish sausages were so small. It just fit perfectly.
But the true irony of the Scot is, though they may have a wee mouth, they're able to get a fish. in their mouth and cram just that much food in the same hole. That's why they call it a pie hole.
But our father, on the other hand, he was a very musical man with the dialect. He came from Wales, he did.
Oh, somebody's from Wales here, very nice boy. In Wales, they stretch their words out like elastic then. Beautiful you are then. Absolutely vile. And yet, when we went to Wales, everybody had the same name. There was Thomas, there was Jones, there was Williams. And it was pretty hard to tell them apart. And so the only way to really tell Welsh people apart was by their occupation. So David Jones was he was a milkman. David Jones the milkman was Dye Milk. And Llewellyn Williams, the rag and bone man, was True Rag. That's how they could tell each other apart.
So also, it wasn't just their professions. If they had something sort of unique to them, and this got cruel sometimes, really. There was a fellow who lived near my great-grandfather. His name was Sean Electric Eye. He had an eye that twitched. So that was his handle. The lady who sang soprano in the choir was Betty Top Note. And my favorite was the woman who lived next door to my great-grandfather on High Street in Merthyr Tydfil, South Wales. She just had one tooth left in the middle of her head. How she managed that, I don't know. But her name was Iris Picklestabber. Everybody knew immediately who you were talking about.
And Gladys Williams, the woman who never spoke much, was Gladys low self-esteem.
Some of them weren't very politically correct. Do you remember Betty Hump lived up the hill?
Jack the Pole loved her.
I never knew he was Polish.
No, he wasn't Polish. He had a big...
right, you ought to know. Now, we thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we brought that Welsh tradition here to Canada? And there, Justin Trudeau would be known as Justin Fussy Socks.
And Donald Trump would be Donald Big Head, Tiny Hands Build a Wall.
Our grandmother would have said of Donald Trump, his eyes are too close together. He's got shifty eyes. Shifty eyes. I don't know what the hell that meant. Oh, shifty eyes.
And they were set too close together, the sign of a liar. And he had tiny hands, the sign of an envious man.
Dave and I, of course, were brought up with good old-fashioned Scottish cuisine. So, the steak would go into the oven around 8 o'clock in the morning. By 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, oh, the house smelled terrific. Pretty much anything that was any fucking good in the steak was in the atmosphere at that point. Because out of the oven would come this wee grey wallet. A wee moccasin with gravy on it.
And I'd be cutting my steak, and Mum would say, David, why you cut your steak that way? And I said, well, Mum, it's a little trick I learned in shop. Never cut against the grain unless you got power tools.
But Mum, of course, she was very exacting. Oh, you boys, you've got to have a balanced diet. Hang on now, get a can of peas. And then that would go in a pot, and she would boil the shite out of that until the peas were no longer green, they were grey, which matched, of course, the wee wallet of beef. And then for a wee bit of colour on your plate, you had a great big dollop of white mashed potatoes.
So, nobody ever says, let's go out for Scottish cooking tonight. Right? I mean, you go out for Indonesian, you go out for French, you go out for Italian. Nobody says, oh, don't you have a hankering tonight for some blood pudding? Or a wee bit of thin and handy.
Well, haggis, that's one of my absolute all-time favourites, you know, sheep guts and a couple of wee oats all squished into kind of a condom, really, and then they boil it.
Or cock a leaky soup. I just don't like the sound of that. Or another thing they would make sometimes, hodgepodge. The last thing you want a Scot to do with cooking is to improvise.